Dear students, today I am going to the fourth lecture on the comparative government politics. And in this lecture, I will discuss about the scope of the comparative politics. That means what are the scopes of the comparative politics. I will discuss in this lecture in the detailed manner. When we're talking about the scope of comparative politics is a basically subfield of the political science that involves comparing political systems, institutions, process, and behavior across different countries. Its scope is broad and includes various aspects. That means its scopes are very in the larger sectors of the different kind of the area and domains. First, scopes of the political comparative politics, that is political system. That means when we're talking about the scopes of the comparative politics and especially with the reference of the political systems, this scope analyzing different types of the political systems such as democracy, monarchy, authoritarian systems, hybrid system to understand the how they operate and how they affect governance and policy making. That means in the comparative politics, political systems is one of the important scopes, and we have the different kind of the political systems that like the democracy already have discussed in the last class when we are talking about the democracy. We have the different form of the democracy like the traditional democracy, liberal democracy. We have the also a system like the monarchy, that means the kingship groups. Somewhere is authoritarian rules, or somewhere in the hybrid form of the government. So this is the one of the important scopes of the comparative politics. Next is that is the political institutions. In these scopes of the comparative politics, studying the structures and functions of the institutions like legislature, executive, judiciary, and political party. This include examining how these institutions are organized and how they are interact with each other. That means in the comparative politics, mean try to study or try to make some kind of the scopes, and we have the a state have different kind of the organs like the legislature, executive, judiciary, and the political party. And in addition to political party, we have also different kind of the institutions or associations. Next, of the scope of the political party or comparative politics, that is political process. In the political process, we try to investigate how political decisions are made, including electoral systems, party system, and role of the interest groups and the social movement. That means in the comparative politics, we have the different kind of the political process like the electoral system. We have the different kind of the electoral system, that is the first past post systems. Somewhere is the different kind of the system. We have the party system, somewhere the one party system, somewhere maybe the two party system, or somewhere maybe the multi party system. And in addition to the party, there is also the role of the interest groups and the social movement in the formations of the government. All these types of the activity have observing by the in the comparative politics. Next, that is the public policy, comparing how different country develop and implement public policy on issue like health, education, welfare, and evaluating the outcomes of these policy. So this is the also a kind of the scope of the comparative politics. Also, there is political culture. That means exploring the beliefs, value, attitude that shape the political behaviors and public opinions in different society. So these are the important scopes. In addition to a scope, we have the political economy. When we're talking about the political economy, that is analyzing the relationship between politics and economics, including how economics policy are formulated and how they impact political stability and developments. This is very significant scopes of the comparative politics. Next is conflicts and violence. Been studying the cause and effects of the political conflicts, including the civil wars, revolutions, and terrorisms, and examining the conflict resolutions and a strategy. This is also of the comparative politics scopes. The democratizations That means कि when examining the process and challenges of uh, transitions from authoritarian to democracy, including the role of the institution, civil society, and the international actor. That means कि when we talking about, especially in the comparative politics, we are doing some kind of the research, especially in the process of uh, de democratizations, and these democratizations has a process and challenge in transitions from the authoritarians to democracy, including the role of the institutions, civil society, and international actors. Then to come to the comparative methodology. The scope of the comparative politics, developing and applying methods for comparing political phenomena, including case study, cross-national statistics analysis, and historical compare. Next is globalization, understanding how global forces such as international organizations, transnational corporations, and global norms impact national policy and governance. This field to generate insight that can improve understanding of political dynamics and contribute to solving global and political challenges. So these are the important kind of the scopes, especially with the reference of the political science and social science. In addition to that, we have also a some kind of the larger scopes of the comparative politics. A scope of the comparative politics. Today, comparative politics have secured a very wide scopes. It in fact includes all that comes within the review of the politics. It includes the study of all political process, political activity, and power relations found in the every parts of the globe. Comparative study of the regulations, similarity, and difference among the structure and functions of all political system. The following topic form the subject matters of comparative politics. Political structures. I have already discussed the scope of comparative politics include the study of all structural, formal, and informal governments and extra governmentals which are directly or indirectly involved in the struggle for power taking place in all the states. It is not confined to the study of the three governments organs, legislature, executive, and judiciary. Along with these bureaucracy, interest groups, pressure groups, elite, political party, and other associations of human beings are form of the part of the scope of the comparative politics. That means in political structures, we are not only stick to the organs of the states like the executive, judiciary, and legislature. But along with these, we have also pressure group, interest groups, elites, political party, and other associations of human beings form part of the scope of the comparative politics. Another kind of the scopes of the comparative politics that is political functions. Comparative politics seek to study politics less from the point of view of the legal institutions in terms of their powers and more from the point of view of the functions which constitute the power process and their actual operations in the environment. It studies the functions of the interest articulations, interest aggregations, political communications, rule makings, rule applications, rule adjudications, and socializations, decision making, policy making, etc. That means ki we are also giving the importance to not only to political system but also the functions of the political functions, how they are functioning. So these are the very important scope of the comparative politics. Now to the come to the next point, that is a study of human behavior in the politics. Another important part of the scopes of the comparative politics, that is a study of the scope of actual behaviors of the peoples in the process of politics. Voting behavior, political participations, leadership recruitments, elite behaviors, mass politics, populism, etc. form an integral part of the study of comparative politics. That means कि when you study the comparative politics, there is some kind of the importance of behaviors and behaviors. That means ki people's participations in the political process, leadership requirements, elite behaviors, mass politics, populisms, and these are covered by the comparative politics. Next is a study of similarity and difference in the behaviors of political institutions. That means ki when we talking about the comparative politics is also undertake an analysis of the similarity and difference between various political process and functions. However, the approach is not descriptive, uh, lega- legalistics, and formalistics. It is and on the basis of actual functions of the political structure and process that the similarity and dissimilarity are explained, analyzed, and compared. The objective is not to decide which is the best process or system. The objective is systematic explanations, understandings, and theory buildings. That means that when studying the different kind of the behaviors of the political institutions, these comparative politics is not try to make which process or which kind of the behavior is best, but trying to make some kind of the understandings, their explanations, or finally making a theory buildings. Next is that is a study of all political system. In comparative politics, seek to analyze the actual behaviors and performance of political systems, Westerns as well as non-Westerns. The political systems are analyzed and compared in terms of their structures, functions, capability, and performance. Here again, the objective is not to decide which political system is best. The objective is to understand the actual working of various political system with a view to gathering systematic knowledge for the theory buildings. That means that this is very important scopes of the comparative politics, especially for the studying of the political system. Then come to the next slide, that is a study of the infrastructure of the political system. And this is also very significant scopes of the comparative politics. That means कि a study of comparative politics demands a study for the psychological, sociological, economics, and anthropological factors. In fact, social environment in which each political systems operates for the studying this, the political scientists have developed several concepts like the political culture, political socializations, political modernizations, etc. The study of the political culture of various political systems form a very popular focus on the comparative politics. A study of the infrastructures of politics form a very important part of the scope of the comparative politics. This concept has definitely enhanced the ability of political scientists to explain and compare the functionings of various political systems. It has further helped them to analyze the difference in the working of similar political system and the gap between the micro politics and micro politics in various states. That means key comparative politics has some kind of the significant scope in the study of the infrastructures of the political system. And when we're talking about the infrastructures of the political systems, that includes each political culture, political socializations, political modernization, etc. Now come to the study of the political cultures. And political culture is composed of attitudes, beliefs, emotions, value of a society that relate to the political systems and to political issue. These beliefs and value influence the working of each political system, its success and failures. The study of political culture is an important part of the scopes of the comparative politics. Political culture constitutes the sociological environments of each political system and hence deserve full attention. That means when we're talking about the political cultures, the role of the caste, religions, regions are very important in the study of the comparative politics. The study of the political socializations. The political socializations is the process by which an individual acquire his political culture. The study of political socializations is also included in the scope of comparative politics because the success and failures of many political systems depend upon this process. It is the process by which political cultures are maintained and changed. So this is very important scopes, especially with the relations of the political socializations, and that socializations is the process by which an individual acquire his political culture. This means socializations is an is also included in the scope of comparative politics because the success and failures of the many political systems depend upon this process. It is the process by which political cultures are maintained and changed. Next, scopes of the comparative politics, that is a study of political participations and voting behaviors of the peoples. That means कि political participations is a universal features. And the only difference is that in some state, Australian state, it is limited, while in other democratic state, its scope is very vast. Political participations provide legitimacy to the administrations and brings a stability in it because an administrations which is based on the consents and will of the people and where the participations of the people is wider is likely to be more legitimate and stable. The students of comparative politics seek to know how political participations influence the functional aspects of the political systems in the different states. Moreover, he also tried to know the factors which determine the political participations and their role. That means in comparative politics, people have different kind of the participations, and participations is very common, especially in the modern system of the governance. Most of the states today practicing democratic system of governments, and where is a liberal democracy, that means ki people are participating more in the active way, and where is some kind of the authoritarian system of the government, their participation is low. But people where participation is more, that government have some kind of the more legitimate powers and all the things. Next is political study of the political pressure groups and political elites. Here is two important term. One is political pressure groups and other is called the political party. Several groups are are found in the very political systems. Some, some of them are found voluntary by individuals for fulfilling some specials and common objective, etc. Political party, interest groups, pressures groups, and some other groups. Bridge, there are some groups which are come into existence suddenly due to a particular events and remain in existence for a short period. These groups reflect the wishes of the people through which meetings, symbols, programs, demonstrations, and influence the working of political systems. Political party contest elections, form the government, criticize governments, etc. There is one party system in some socialist country like China, and there is two party or multi-party system in democratic country. The nature of the party system is in different states, and activity of other groups vastly influence their political system. Therefore, a student of comparative politics comprehensively study the structural, working, and policy programs of these groups. Here I am talking about the scope of the comparative politics with the reference of the political pressures groups and elite groups. That means कि in addition to the mainstream political party, there are so many different kind of the groups like the political pressures group, political elite, some kind of the associations, some kind of the corporate groups, and their role is very significant in the influence of the policy making, influence of the electoral politics, and all the things. Through the comparative politics, researchers, policymakers, teachers, they are studying the significance of the political pressures groups and political elites in the electoral politics and political activisms. Now come to the next scopes of the comparative politics, that is a study of power, influence, authority, and legitimacy. That means कि when we talking about the study of power, influence, authority, and legitimacy. Modern political scientists lay a special emphasis on the study of powers, influence, and authority, and use of these concepts for distinct political system. Therefore, the study of the concept of power, influence, legitimacy, and authority is also included in the subject matter of comparative politics. Here we have the different kind of the powers. Power, when defining the powers, that means ki we trying to influence some other persons, and there is different kind of the power, that is coercive and non-coercive powers. In addition to coercive and non-coercive power, we have up also different category of power, that is called the soft power and hard powers. When we talking about the power, that is those state whose civilizations, cultures, socialization, social capital is more vibrant, then we call there is soft power, its existence is more in compared to the other country. But when we're talking about the hard power, that means there is some kind of the arms, ammunition, military systems are existing. There's some kind of the strong bureaucracy, a strong military system, and all the things. So here, that means the comparative politics is also doing the research on the power, influence, authority, and legitimacy. And modern political scientists have different kind of the emphasis on the study of power, influence, and authority. And use of these concept for distinguish political system. Therefore, the study of the concept of power, influence, legitimacy, and authority is also included in the subject matters of the comparative politics. A study of all political process, policy makings, judicial process, leadership recruitments process, and others are always at work in all political system. The actual working of every political system depend upon these process. Therefore, comparative study of the various political process is also a part of a scope of the comparative politics. That means कि when we talking about the political process, there is we have the some kind of the policy making process, we have the decision making process, there is some kind of the judicial process, there is also some kind of the leadership recruitments process, and others are always at work in all political system, and all the political process are covered under the comparative politics, and comparative politics is focus or giving the importance ki how a state are taking decisions in these policy making process, judicial process, leadership recruitments. There is in the leadership recruitment, there is women representation have or not, there is some kind of the representations of underprivileged class or not. So these kind of the study have doing by the comparative politics, especially in the political process. Now come to the scopes of the comparative politics, and we can here summarize that the scope of comparative politics has become a very broad. It include everything that fall within the preview of political activity and political process. It seeks to study all mechanisms of politics with a view to build a science of politics capable of explaining and comparing all political activity, process, and systems. It involves the study of all structure functions which directly or indirectly or passively affect the characterize the political process in the state. Political behavior, political culture, political socializations, decision making, power struggle, interest groups, political party, elites, direct actions, public protest, violence, urbanizations, modernizations, power, etc., are all included in the scopes of the politics. That means कि when we talking about the scope of the comparative politics, and it is not limited to the only the political institutions, not only limited to the political behaviors, not only limited to the legislature, executive, and judiciary, but it cover more than these things. These cover political culture. These also cover political socializations. Also cover the interest groups, political party, elites, some kind of the civil society, their actions, their behaviors. So that means कि a scope of the comparative politics is very vast in the modern political science. And this is the, I think I have covered all the point, especially with the reference of the scope of the comparative politics. Thank you for participations in this lecture.